You know what I hate most about making tier lists? The A tier. Not like A as in any tier, but A tier as in, the one that comes before the S tier. Hawkmoon and Thorn are two A tier hand cannons, as you might know from my recent hand cannon tier list. Both of them are clearly great options. They're not quite the best, but they're almost the best. Actually, they're so close to being the best that I had to put them in the A+ tier. But then, which one's actually better? That's the tough part about the A tier. Everything in it is so good that you don't want to stop playing with it. Still, something has to come out on top. Stay with me till the end and I promise we'll get you a definitive answer. Let's start simple and quickly cover what makes these two hand cannons special. Both of them were originally in Destiny 1 and were brought back later into Destiny 2's lifespan. Both of them belong to the 140 RPM family and both of them occupy the kinetic slot, so they're just begging to be paired with a particular shotgun. Thorn's exotic perk gives you a small additional damage over time effect on top of your normal bullet damage. Against maximum resilience guardians, you're still going to need 3 headshots to get the kill. However, anyone running less than 60 resilience is going to die to the damage over time effect if you just land 2 headshots in 1 body shot. After getting a kill with Thorn, it spawns a little orb on your enemy's corpse that will track towards you if you're close enough. Collecting this will massively beef up the Thorn's damage over time. Against max resilience guardians, you'll be able to deliver a kill with just 1 headshot and 2 body shots. And again, running less than 60 resilience will get you killed by just 2 headshots with the powered up Thorn. Hawkmoon, on the other hand, is a completely different animal. Well, I guess Thorn technically isn't really an animal at all. I like how my friend Cammy explained Hawkmoon's exotic perk. He said that in Destiny 1, Hawkmoon relied on a perk called Luck in the Chamber to grant a couple of extra damage bullets. In Destiny 2, however, the exotic perk basically turned into Skill in the Chamber. Whoa, did I just say the S word? Imagine talking about skill in a game with aim assist. The sweaty players out there probably just lost their lunch. What do you think? Does Destiny have just the right amount of aim assist or a bit too much? Well, my sponsor clearly thought that Destiny was too hard and they created a game with even more aim assist. Mech Arena Robot Showdown claims to be a skill-based competitive 5v5 shooter game, but I'll let you be the judge of that. One thing's for sure, it's a lot of fun and it kind of even resembles Destiny, but it's played on your phone. I'll definitely give them credit for their focus on winning being based on player skill, not on spending money. We've probably all played those games at some time that feel like you're at a huge disadvantage if you don't open up your piggy bank. The gameplay here actually felt surprisingly good for a mobile game. I kind of joked about the aim assist, but honestly, I think it's a good thing here because you can focus more on movement and target priority, since aiming on a touchscreen is always a little bit wonky. There's a wide variety of weapon choices which make room for some 2000 IQ plays, just like in Destiny. This is really cool because winning is really more about being a better player. Everyone's on an even playing field at the start of the battle. This month, Mech Arena is releasing 2 awesome new maps to play on along with its first ever battle pass. This has some special weapons and some cool rewards that you can win. Every day you log in, you'll get some extra rewards, and there's also some events where you can win prizes like new skins and weapons. It's completely free to play on Android and iOS right now, and you can use my personal link in the description or the QR code on screen to get the Black Carbon skin, 300 A coins, and 50,000 credits to help kickstart your game. You can even add me to your friends by using my player ID on screen, and maybe we can even play some matches together. Thanks again to Mech Arena for sponsoring the video, and now back to hand cannons. I'm predicting about 1% of you are currently writing a comment something like, "But Patty, if you run Foe Tracer, it will get you a kill even at 70 resilience." In the past, you would have been right. Aside from the exotic perk giving you wall hacks after aiming at your enemy for a short period of time, it also gives you bonus damage to weak opponents. Normally this doesn't really come into play for PvP since the damage only ramps up when the enemy is almost dead. But since the Thorn deals tick damage, sometimes that tiny bit of extra damage is enough to finish off a weak opponent. Before it was converted from a 150 into a 140, this actually meant that you could extend that 60 resilience threshold by 1 point up to 70. Sadly, this is no longer possible. The extra damage now isn't even worth a single resilience tier. Admittedly, you'll still be able to 2-tap a Guardian at 60 resilience with Mark of the Devourer and the Foe Tracer, but this is such a fringe case that I feel like it just doesn't really matter. But don't worry, you're still going to get your wall hacks from the helmet. Except, if you're using the Thorn, you're also getting one of the most slept on benefits for free. Just by hitting an opponent once, you can watch their movement behind walls thanks to the burn damage ticking away. Hooray, you basically just got the Foe Tracer for free. Now you can actually use a good exotic. Looking at the Thorn stats, unfortunately the range and stability are kinda bad. Also, the aim assist is mediocre and the reload speed is not that good. Fortunately, the Remnant will actually give you 4 bullets into the magazine, but if you do start missing your shots or if you let an enemy regenerate, it's going to be a lengthy reload. Thorn's only good stats are basically its recoil direction at 100 and its high handling, which is actually really high. The key thing to remember about the Thorn are the handling and the burn damage. That little bit of damage will delay an enemy's health regeneration, and it's going to give you some bonus information from the damage ticks behind walls, which will let you punish your enemies if they don't have high resilience. Hawkmoon will collect stacks of paracausal charge every time you land a headshot or a kill. Based on the number of stacks, the last shot will deal significantly more damage. At 6 stacks, that's going to be enough to one-shot your opponent with a headshot, and with 7 stacks, just a body shot will get the kill. That's assuming it's working like intended and Bungie has unspaghettified the code. Don't underestimate the power of the 2-tap though. To achieve this, you need at least 3 stacks in your pocket, and you need to land the second to last shot as a headshot. Also, your enemy has to be running less than 90 resilience, otherwise you're going to need 4 stacks. At 140 RPM, 2-tapping your opponent will give you a kill time of roughly 0.43 seconds, which is way faster than almost any other primary weapon kill time in the game. The Catalyst will give you bonus range and handling for every stack of paracausal charge, which is really awesome. Even if you miss quite a few shots, you'll be able to appreciate the increased range and snappiness from just a few stacks. Taking a look at Hawkmoon's other perk, we see a question mark. Do you know what time it is? It's time for a baby tier list of Hawkmoon's random perks. My friend Drewsky did a complete analysis of every perk, and I'll link to that in the video description. For now, we'll do a rapid fire version. Quick Draw lets you swap to Hawkmoon faster. This gives you a brief period of high handling. With Hawkmoon's exotic catalyst giving you handling and its default handling being pretty good, this is kind of redundant, so we're going to put this D tier. For similar reasons, Snapshot feels nice, but it just isn't as powerful as other options on the table, so that's going to go D tier as well. Killing Wind gives you a healthy range, handling, and strafe speed boost after a kill. This is excellent on any 140 RPM hand cannon, and Hawkmoon is no exception. It is a bit unfortunate that Killing Wind doesn't do anything for you up front without getting a kill, but it's still a solid choice overall. We're going to go B tier. Moving Target gives Hawkmoon plus 10 aim assist along with a small strafe speed boost. This really isn't all that noticeable, but it is nice to have. Usually this would be a great perk for the aim assist alone, but Hawkmoon's base aim assist is so high that it can already be maxed out with a single targeting mod. So moving target really only makes sense if you don't have room for a hand cannon targeting mod on your helmet. We're going to go C tier. Hipfire Grip significantly increases the Hawkmoon's hipfire accuracy. This isn't quite as bad as it sounds because it synergizes with the high base aim assist to deliver a smooth hipfire experience. Also, you can aim the final high damage shot much easier from the hip. Unfortunately though, other useful perks do this job even better, so we're going to go C tier for this one, maybe even D tier. Surplus gives us bonus handling, reload speed, and most importantly stability based on how many of your abilities are charged. Double charged abilities here count twice. If you recall, Hawkmoon's Catalyst gives you range and handling, but not stability. Therefore, the stability bump is actually strongly appreciated. At maximum stacks, you can often get close to 100 stability, so don't sleep on this perk, you might actually really like it. We're gonna go B tier. Eye of the Storm gives you more handling and accuracy the lower that your health drops. The handling is a little bit wasted on Hawkmoon, but the extra accuracy is incredibly noticeable. It can make you feel like you can never lose a duel. This is going A tier easily. Opening Shot gives you a massive range and magnetism boost on your first shot of the attack. By the way, this is not unique to aiming down sights. You can actually hipfire that shot with pretty good confidence that it's going to go where you aim it. Opening Shot also works in the air, so even without Icarus, it's going to be really handy for landing those in-air shots. This is an elite perk on Hawkmoon as it can get you a head start with your paracausal stacks and then also help you to land that final high damage bullet. We're going to go S tier for Opening Shot. Finally, Rangefinder increases the Hawkmoon's range. Yes, that's all it does, but range is king on hand cannons, and it's so good that it easily lands in the S tier. I know that the Thorn has fixed rolls and it doesn't have a catalyst, but I'm evaluating these hand cannons based on their maximum power. And if you kit out a Hawkmoon for maximum range, you can easily outrange the Thorn by almost 5 meters. With the Hawkmoon's crazy base stats, you'll beat out the Thorn in almost every front, except for maybe handling. And if you want to, you could even pick a Hawkmoon role that specializes in bonus handling. Let's once again abruptly change topics here, and let me ask you a question. Do you like being an aimbot? Do you like not missing a single shot? Well, then you might enjoy this pairing with the Hunter Exotic Boots Lucky Pants. The exotic perk here gives you massively increased accuracy after you switch to a hand cannon. It feels almost like you have Opening Shot on every single bullet. Also, the illegal hand cannon holster mod allows you to partially reload Hawkmoon. This also works with a regular hand cannon holster, by the way. If you make sure that you never let it fill up the magazine all the way up to 9 bullets, you can actually keep your paracausal charges. This means that you can get shots back in the magazine if you miss too much, making it pretty easy to reach either 6 or 7 stacks for that incredibly satisfying snipe. Now that we know these two hand cannons, let's put them in a head-to-head. Damage-wise, Thorn actually deals a little bit more damage than Hawkmoon at base. If your enemy doesn't have enough resilience, you'll also be granted a much easier kill. In the case of the Hawkmoon, you're always going to need to land your 3 headshots for the fastest base kill time. Also, the damage over time will delay your enemy's health regeneration for Thorn, while Hawkmoon shoots more like an average 140 RPM hand cannon. Hawkmoon also won't help you track your enemies as it doesn't show the damage ticks through walls. On the other hand, the Hawkmoon is significantly better in the stats department. For more aggressive players though, the Thorn's handling is a godsend, especially when trying to switch over to a shotgun. Nonetheless, the Hawkmoon does feel a bit smoother and it hits its shots from a bit further away. If we compare their exotic perks, both hand cannons have the potential to 2-tap, or in Hawkmoon's case, even 1-tap. Thorn requires you to go get a kill and then pick up the remnant, but then you do have a moderate time frame to go out and 2-tap low resilience guardians. You can chain this very easily by picking up more and more remnants. On the other hand, just by landing headshots, not even getting kills, you can empower the Hawkmoon to deliver a single 2-tap or even a 1-tap against the guardian. If you do miss though, or even if you switch weapons after getting to the final bullet, you're gonna have to start over from scratch. Both of the exotic perks are really attractive, and both of them have unique strengths which can be decisive for winning some engagements, so which one is better? In my opinion, the answer mostly comes down to your opponents and their loadout. If you see the enemy using a lot of very mobile and aggressive loadouts, I think the Thorn is perhaps the better option. This is provided though that you can actually manage the Thorn's wonky recoil and land your shots. If you don't know what an aggressive loadout looks like, take a look at some of these. These builds depend on the player being hypermobile and participating in every single gunfight with a lot of pressure. The Thorn's damage over time effect will prevent your enemy from regenerating their health for a little bit longer and give you a bit more breathing room. It will also force them to run at least 60 resilience. If you think about the build potential, this means they're going to have to sacrifice either some mobility or some recovery to achieve this. Even if they survive 2 headshots and 1 body shot, they'll be weak for a really long time, which is going to make them unable to participate in any gunfight while they're recovering. Also, while they're dealing with the poison effect, you can know their exact location thanks to the burn damage. This can make it a lot easier to predict if the enemy's going to run away or if they're planning to re-engage with you. I suggest either running Thorn with an aggressive build yourself, maybe something like the Bottom Tree Striker Titan or the Arcstrider Hunter with an Elemental Capacitor Sudden Death Shotgun. This way you can take advantage of the high handling and switch between your weapons quickly to fend off those attackers. Alternatively, you can also rock a Sniper Rifle to cover the longer ranges while you use the Thorn to cover your close angles. I think Hawkmoon is potentially a little bit more difficult to manage if your opponent is being hyper-mobile. Think of a Dune Marcher's Titan chasing you, for example. It's just way too hard to consistently land your headshots to gather a meaningful amount of those paracausal stacks. Where the Hawkmoon really shines though is if your opponent is trying to play a little bit more passive. Many players out there are complaining about the Stag Warlock helmet, and rightfully so because the damage resistance is annoying. Well, with the Hawkmoon you can take pot shots at your opponent and stack up those paracausal charges. Again, even if you don't feel confident landing straight headshots, you can still use those hand cannon holster mods to Uno reverse the missed shots. If you manage to get high enough stacks, you can easily one-shot Stag Warlocks right out of the rift. Hawkmoon here works great against any strategy which doesn't immediately put a lot of pressure on you. Even if you just manage to get a few stacks, you'll be granted a free kill in the form of that 2-tap. This is particularly devastating in the Trials of Osiris, as those paracausal stacks can be the deciding factor towards your team getting that initial pick. This is even more true today after all of the special ammo economy changes. Even in game modes where one kill isn't that impactful all by itself, the ability to quickly remove a player can be the difference maker between dying and winning a 1v2 or a 1v3 engagement. When thinking about 6v6 game modes, you'll profit more off of the Thorn's remnants because there's so many more additional targets on the field. And I'm gonna say that S word again, but the more skilled you are with either of these hand cannons, the stronger they're gonna become in your hands. A skilled player with the Hawkmoon can take advantage of those paracausal charges more often. At the higher levels, you'll learn to decide which player is the most critical to be removed from the fight. Maybe you have a super chasing you, but you manage to get those last stacks just in time to one-shot the super. Maybe one of those guys has heavy ammo, so you choose to snipe him first. The possibilities are endless, and your IQ in the middle of the fight will only grow as you get more experienced. Still, I think it might be disingenuous to say that the Thorn isn't as much of a skill reward proposal. If you're spreading around that massive burn damage and using the remnants to reload the Thorn, you can go on some crazy tears that the Hawkmoon just can't offer. Also, the information of where your enemy is hiding alone from those burn ticks can be so helpful in a team fight. In the end, as with any of my advice, I'm just giving you the theoretical ideas on how to use both hand cannons. If you greatly prefer the shooting experience of one or the other, don't let me dissuade you from using it. For example, I personally struggle to hit my shots with the Thorn a little bit more because of that awkward sight aesthetic, so for the most part, I prefer the feel of the Hawkmoon. Plus, it also has that laser sight now, so how could I possibly not use it? Something about one-shotting my opponents just never gets old. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. Also, check out our community Discord server for more discussions on the best guns in Destiny. The link to join is discord.gg/pattycakes. I bet you'll also like my recent comparison video between the Fatebringer and the Judgment. It's the video on the top right of your screen and also linked in the description.